What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mellow Mondays podcast. I kind of had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to talk about this week, but I think we narrowed it in on a subject. I was kind of thinking about last week, this whole concept of taking risks, you know what I mean? Like this whole idea of putting ourselves in a position to make changes so that our lives can become better. And a lot of times that comes through taking a risk of some kind and putting yourself out there. And this week kind of coincides with that. I think I want to talk about this idea of having a good work-life balance, right? Like this whole idea of what does it mean to truly be successful in life? And this is probably a topic that I have struggled with greatly over the years. I would say over the past really my whole professional career. So let's say 8 to 10 years or so. Starting with production. I mean, we saw it all the way back into college, right? Like I got this job with the event production team when I was in school, and it quickly just absolutely consumed my life. Everything about my life was about production. I gave up friend events. I stopped playing Ultimate Frisbee so that I could be successful and make it in the industry. And on one side of things, that had a big part to do with why I was successful, because I was able to give every waking moment and thought to building my craft and getting better. But on the flip side, I feel like it definitely hurt my family, friends, whatever fun life outside of work. I was making sacrifices of my career over being able to experience life with other people. And I think as I've gotten older, I turned 30 last year. I'm about to turn 31, which is crazy. It doesn't even it's hard to believe that I'm already turning 31. But as you get older, I think you start to have these thoughts of like, what do I want my life to look like? And how do I want to be successful? And it kind of relates to what I'm going through this week. I mean, we're gearing up for our fishing season. Those of you who know the fishing world, I think the fishing season is a very demanding time, right? Like I will work almost every day from probably June to, I don't know, maybe like mid-October. So it's demanding. I'm not saying that I get to hang out every day, but after that season is over, I'm able to kind of relax and take some time. So for instance, last year, I saved all my tip money. I saved as much money as I could from my normal paychecks, and took a lot of time off. Me and my girlfriend went home back to Kansas City. I think we went I guess it was late October, and we got back out to Colorado first week of April. And that whole time, I did a few gigs with a local production company in Kansas City that I used to work for. But other than that, I really didn't work a whole lot. And it gave me a lot of time to just spend with family, to hang out, to relax, to kind of rejuvenate from the busy season. And that is something that I am very, very bad at, right? And I don't know if this is like a male thing or if other people feel this way too, but I like to work. Like I enjoy going to work. I enjoy a hard day's work. It feels good to work a long day, to come home, drink a beer, relax, and know that you did everything you could that day. And I don't know, it feels good. It makes you feel this success. It makes you feel proud of the things that you do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Like there's a lot of these qualities that are good things. That feeling inherently is not wrong. But I think where I struggled was having this balance. I've sacrificed a lot of time with friends and family because of my career, and then kind of towards the end of it, touring. I mean, your only friends are the people you tour with, which I love the people I tour with, don't get me wrong, but it was tough to have a life. You're always gone, you're always on the road, and then when you do get home, you're just exhausted and wiped out, and you got to do laundry, you got to go to the grocery store, you got to catch up on sleep, and then, you're back on a bus and you're doing it again. And it was stressful. I was answering emails at midnight, 1 a.m., just because that was the only time I had during my day to finally catch up and finish work outside of work, because I was production managing and doing these other things. And I think it really took a toll on, one, my mental health, just because it's not good to work and be stressed out all the time. But two, just like I wasn't able to build these relationships with friends and family. I was just very disconnected. It was tough to have conversations with me because I was just you get to this point where you're so stressed all the time that it's hard to like enter back into a normal world and like just like talk about someone's day. You're thinking about the 13 emails you got to answer, the show or the venue that you haven't advanced with that you're kind of worried about, and these little details. It just like consumes your brain. And I think that's a problem, right? Like, it's not a good thing to be doing. And I think over the past, really, 3 years, and we've talked about it with COVID and all this stuff, a forced layoff, it forced me to have the one thing that I have not had in a very long time, which is time. Time to do, to some extent, whatever I want. I was hindered by money and, access to certain things. Obviously, going through COVID, you can't just go do whatever you want. But I had this time to sit and relax and whatever. And I think that is one of the biggest things that I'm trying to carry over now into my professional career. Once again, is just this idea of taking time to live life, work-life balance, to have a life outside of work, because I'm really, really bad about that. And I felt like last year I did an okay job at it as my, kind of first year guiding out here. I certainly was busy and I worked a lot, but I felt like me and my girlfriend were able to go to the hot springs. We go, 3-4 times a week. We're able to go on hikes. We're able to go hang out with her family. And that's something like this early season that we've really been trying to grow and get better at. Like, for instance, we're taking 4 days next week to go on a little vacation just to celebrate her getting a new job and just time for us to spend together before we both get busy. And that was initially hard for me, right? Like, you're like having these feelings of stress of like, okay, well, what if the shop calls and they have a trip for me, but then I can't do a trip, and like whatever. You have all these little anxieties and voices telling you like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. But it's like, no, okay. Like, I'm going to grow. We're going to get better at this skill, and the best way to do it is to practice. And so we've already taken a couple days where we've gone to Ure, we've gone to Arches. I've already talked about that with you all. And then this trip, it's like, okay, it's okay to say no to work every now and then. Now, you don't want to be the person who says no all the time, and then people can't count on you and that sort of thing. But what I'm trying to get better at is during these seasons where I have time off to be able to go and experience life and to hang out with friends and hang out with family and hang out with my girlfriend and all these different things that in the past I would have struggled with. And it feels good. Like, I don't feel stressed about it. I'm excited. Like, I'm like, oh, cool, we got to take a little vacation. And I got to take a vacation with my family, earlier this year. And these little things where before it was always such a nightmare. I remember, I think the last vacation we took before COVID, we went to Cayman Islands with my family. And it was like, okay, they were going to be there for a week. I had shows on the East Coast the first 2 days, but then my girlfriend was going to fly to me, and then we were going to fly there for 3 days, and then I had to fly back to LA. And then we got on a bus and did shows, and then we moved my girlfriend to Nashville from LA. And then, it's just like this constant state of like running around trying to make these little logistics work. It's nice to be able to say like, yeah, I'm going to take a trip and I don't really have to stress about things. I'm not worried about missing work. I'm not worried about checking emails, all these different things. And I think that's tough. I think that's tough for a lot of people, right? Like, we all feel this constant pressure. And I think there's a lot of it from society and these different things, these different figures that we have to look at who are, quote unquote successful. High output, many hours spent on work. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. You gotta pay your bills. There's importance to growing financially, whether it be through your savings or investments for the future, for retirement. Healthcare, all these different things cost a lot of money, and those things are important and help us live longer lives and less stressful lives and these sort of things. But I think there is this over exaggeration of the amount of output you need to give in order to be successful. And I think that's like a new thing generationally. Like, I think I look at my parents' generation and these sort of things. Like, there's certainly hard work on all these things, but it seems to be more of a structured, like 9 to 5 is when you work, and then from there you go home and you spend time with your family. And that's something I think, like, what am I, a millennial? Or I don't even know. I know boomers are older. Gen Z, who knows? I don't know. I'm 30 years old. I'm probably a millennial. Who knows? But I think we put all this pressure and time restraints on our life in order to like achieve this Instagram driven idea of what it means to be successful. And I don't know. I think I'm just tired of that stigma and I'm tired of that pressure on my life. And I think starting this new career is a way for me to kind of figure out a way to make some changes and to still work hard. I mean, I love working. I like going to work. It feels good. A hard day's work feels great. Go on the water, catch some fish, come home. Like, you feel proud of that. And that's important because we need to be fulfilled. We need to enjoy the things that we do. I just don't want to fall into that trap of only doing those things, getting so obsessed with something that I lose sight of, the things that are important, which is oftentimes friends and family, right? Like, those are the things that ultimately I think really matter. And I think you hear that a lot, right? Like, that's that cliche, like when you're on your deathbed, are you going to think about all the times you went to work or all the times you spent with your family? And I think that's maybe a simplified statement. I don't think life is that simple and easy to make those reductions in statements, but I think there is truth to it, right? Like, there is this truth to this idea of, I don't want to look back and regret not doing things because I worked all the time and it's all I ever did. And that's what production was for me. And that's why this change into becoming a fishing guide and kind of living once again in this beautiful area where I have access to all these different things to do is so important to me right now. And I think it fits really well with like that idea of taking risks because, I've taken those risks. I've put myself out there. I've been given the opportunities to grow. And especially these first couple years, I'll have to work, not that I'll work more, but I have to be a little more strict in what I do and don't do, meaning, when you're trying to establish yourself and build client base and that sort of thing, you're going to have to output more than possibly when you're fully established. You have a little more flexibility in taking trips or not taking trips. And you want to be helpful. You want to help the shop out that you're working for when they're in a bind. But also taking time for yourself and for your mental health is, I don't know, something I've always been bad at, and I'm trying to change that. And I think we are making changes slowly, and I've definitely seen that in my life in certain areas. And that's just something that I maybe want to encourage you all in this week. I know I'm sure I'm not alone in having these feelings of this pressure to be successful and these different pressures to achieve more and to be better constantly. I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer. I feel like my last couple weeks have been like, yeah, I don't really know what to do about this, but I think it's something we should think about. And I don't know, maybe there's value to that of just maybe letting you all see that, yeah, you're not alone in this feeling to be successful, to be the best, whatever it may be. It's hard, it's tough, and there is a lot of pressure that is involved with it. But I want to encourage you that it's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to have this work-life balance, and that looks different for everyone. I'm a freelancer. I'm a 1099 contractor, so my life is going to look different than someone who works a 9 to 5 at a more salaried, structured job. And I think everybody just has to find that balance between being able to financially be stable, but at the same time taking time to enjoy life and to go do things that are fun. I mean, I don't want to look back and just work the whole time. I love my job. I'm a little biased. I mean, I take people fishing, so it could definitely be worse. But yeah, I just want to encourage you all in that this week. Maybe just help you think like, oh, I'm feeling this weird pressure to be successful. And I think sometimes we just need to sit down and define what is actually success. What does success look like in our lives? And that's, I don't know, that's tough. And I think that's a question I'm still trying to answer in my own life. But it's one of those questions that I'm daily kind of working through, wrestling with, like, okay, when I get to the end of all of this, what do I want my life to have looked like? How do I want to have spent my time? And what do I need to be doing now in order to achieve those goals? It's not wrong to be ambitious. It's not wrong to strive and work hard for all these different things. But I want to make sure that I'm striving and working towards the right thing. And I think those things change. Early on, my goals and ideas were different than what they are now. And that's okay. We're fluid beings. We change. We grow. We learn. We make mistakes. And we have successes. And we kind of go from there. So hopefully that's encouraging to you all this week. Just wanted to kind of put it out there and see if you guys all felt the same way. As always, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Let me know your feedback or if you have any thoughts or pushbacks or whatever it may be. And as usual, very thankful that anyone would even sit down and listen to these conversations. It kind of blows my mind that people, that people care. But these are the kind of conversations I like, and these are the kind of podcasts I listen to. So it was something that I enjoy doing. But as always, thank you guys very much. And this has been another episode of the Mellow Mondays podcast. Peace.